Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something really common for women, actually. Doesn't matter what size you are, it's how our feelings about our bodies can, well, really mess with our sex lives.
Oh, definitely. It's that little voice, isn't it? Pops up at the worst moments.
Exactly. And as we've been digging into the research, it's just, wow, it's clear how deep these feelings go and how much they impact intimacy.
It truly is a surprisingly universal struggle.
Absolutely. And our guide for this exploration today is Michael Oliver's book, Not Tonight, Dear, I Feel Fat, How to Stop Worrying About Your Body and Have Great Sex.
Right, and Alver, he co-hosted HBO Sex Inspectors, didn't he?
He did. So he brings a lot of real world experience to this. He's seen these issues play out in actual relationships.
That practical understanding, yeah.
Eh.
It adds a lot of weight.
And you really see the impact in stories like Sarah's from the book. She wasn't overweight, not at all, but she was so conscious of her, quote, jiggly thigh
Yeah, I remember that.
that she insisted on missionary, lights off, every single time. It really put a damper on things with her partner.
And that's a real shame because intimacy is so key.
Totally. And it's a stark reminder, the book points out, that when sexual satisfaction drops, relationship problems often spike. It's a big predictor of breakups, apparently.
That lack of intimacy just erodes the connection, doesn't it?
It really does. And what's interesting is how that avoidance, like Sarah hiding her thighs, it feels protective in the moment.
Like a quick fix.
But as the book shows, it often just creates more distance down the line.
Right.
And there's this quote from the book that just, it really hits you. I don't deserve sex, not without a flat belly.
Ooh, that's powerful and heartbreaking.
Isn't it? How many women have that kind of thought running through their heads? Millions, the book suggests, telling themselves some version of that.
And it's so important to stress, like the book does, this isn't just an issue for certain women. It affects women of all shapes, all sizes.
So if you've ever found yourself, wanting dimmer lights or maybe avoiding intimacy because of how you feel about your body, well, this deep dive is definitely for you.
Yeah.
And our goal isn't just quick fixes, right? It's to really get into why this happens and find some real ways to move past it.
Exactly. Beyond the superficial advice.
Okay, so the book kind of kicks off by tackling a common idea that, dieting and exercise are the main answers if you feel self-conscious during sex.
Right. But interestingly, the book argues that's not necessarily the primary solution, especially for sexual self-consciousness. It talks about this hamster wheel effect.
The hamster wheel. Yeah, I found that really relatable. You might lose some weight, feel a bit better,
For a while, yeah.
but then suddenly you're zeroing in on something else. Maybe it's your upper arms, like
Yeah.
one example in the book.
Or your stomach or whatever it is. It's like fixing one leaky tap and then you suddenly notice the paint peeling everywhere else.
Exactly. There's often no end point. You never quite arrive.
And psychologically, it makes sense. Changing the physical form doesn't automatically fix those deeper anxieties about how you see yourself.
Which leads perfectly into this concept of perceived actual disparities. This was a real eye-opener. The book points out that most women, well, we're just not very good at accurately judging our own weight or shape.
Like our internal mirrors distorted.
Totally. Women who are actually a healthy weight, they consistently see themselves as heavier, and even women who are underweight often overestimate their size.
It's quite startling when you think about it, that inability to see ourselves objectively.
It really is, and it helps explain why, your partner might give you a genuine compliment about your body and it just doesn't land.
Right, it feels like they're just being nice or they can't really see the flaws you're focused on.
Exactly. But the book argues their perspective is often much more objective than our own internal critic.
Their assessment is probably closer to reality.
Yeah. There is even a study mentioned where normal weight women who overestimated their weight had a worse body image than those who saw themselves more accurately. Imagine if we could just see ourselves as we are.
It makes you wonder then, where does all this body shame actually come from if our own perception is so off?
Well, the book digs into that, and it's complex. Family influence, societal judgments, comparing ourselves to other women, that all plays a part.
Sure. The usual suspects.
But a huge factor, according to the research cited, is internalizing the media's relentless push for this super thin ideal.
Ah, the media, of course.
The more we buy into that specific, often unrealistic image as the standard, the more we compare and the unhappier we get.
And what's really interesting is how the book challenges that assumption, that the media is just reflecting what men actually find attractive.
Oh, this was fascinating because you see these images everywhere, right? Stick-thin models and actresses.
It's unavoidable.
And you just assume, okay, that's what men want. But the book presents research suggesting, nope.
Oh, What does it say they prefer?
Generally, men are attracted to women who are a normal weight, healthy looking, with curves, a decent waist-to-hip ratio, not the extreme thinness often portrayed.
So it's like women have absorbed this media ideal and then projected it onto men's desires.
Kind of, creating all this extra pressure. And there was this UCLA study the book mentions that really hammers this home.
What did they look at?
They wanted to see if body dissatisfaction was mainly about attracting men or if it was broader. So they studied lesbian women, figuring their main motivation wouldn't be male attention.
Okay, makes sense. And the results.
Get this. The lesbian women showed similar levels of body dissatisfaction as the heterosexual women.
Wow. So it really points to something bigger, doesn't it? A cultural standard that affects all women.
Exactly. It's not just about finding a mate. It's like, it's in the air we breathe.
So this deep-seated feeling that something's wrong with our bodies, that it needs fixing.
Yeah, the book basically argues it's often a fiction thrust upon you by the media. This idea that being thin equals happiness, respect, love, great sex. All of it.
Like thinness is the magic key to everything.
Pretty much this get thin or get out kind of vibe. And buying into that fiction, well, it leads to that constant self-criticism, feeling like you never measure up.
Which can be incredibly damaging.
Okay, so we get that body image issues are widespread, often fueled by these external messages. But how does this translate, like, directly into the bedroom? What's the actual impact on sex?
Well, the book draws a really clear line. Feeling bad about your body, it can directly lower your libido,
Yeah.
make you want to avoid sex entirely.
Right.
And even when you are having sex, it's incredibly distracting. Your mind isn't on the pleasure, it's on your perceived flaws.
It's like that inner critic just sets up shop right there, doesn't it? Giving
Yeah.
a running commentary.
Precisely. Is my stomach sticking out? Do my thighs look okay? It pulls you right out of the moment.
Yeah, it makes it hard to just feel.
And feeling self-conscious makes it tougher to ask for what you actually want, which reduces pleasure even more. Plus, it can lead to emotional disengagement.
Like you're physically there, but mentally checked out.
Which makes it harder to orgasm, harder to feel truly connected. The book even compares the impact to something like menopause, citing the Journal of Sex Research. It's significant.
Wow. And when we try to cope with this anxiety, the book says we often reach for these short-term fixes that actually backfire.
Like what?
Things like avoiding sex altogether, covering up our bodies constantly, sticking to only safe positions, emotionally distancing ourselves.
Or even dieting and exercising, but only to change how we look.
Exactly. And the catch is, while those things might feel like they reduce anxiety right now,
They actually end up magnifying the problem long term, right? Because they keep your focus locked entirely on your appearance.
totally, you're constantly monitoring yourself. Am I covered? Is it dark enough? Did I work out enough? It just feeds the cycle.
It becomes this vicious loop.
But here's where the book offers a really important shift. Research suggests that having a strong sense of overall well-being, that's actually a stronger predictor of sexual satisfaction than body image itself.
Okay, that's really crucial. Say more about that.
Well, women who generally feel good about their lives, their purpose, relationships, health, even if they don't love their bodies, they report greater sexual satisfaction than women who might have a better body image, but low overall well-being.
So feeling good overall is more powerful than just feeling good about your body when it comes to sex.
It seems so. So the suggestion isn't just fix your body image, it's more like focus on improving other parts of your life. That can have a bigger positive ripple effect on your love life.
Breaking that negative body anxiety cycle and building a positive one where good life experiences, including good sex, feed back into feeling better overall.
Exactly. Okay, so if tackling body image head-on isn't the main path, what is? The book talks a lot about cultivating sensuality.
Yes, this is presented as a really effective strategy. It's a way to kind of bypass that inner critic.
How does that work?
By reconnecting with your physical senses and the pleasure they can bring, you boost your overall well-being, which, in turn, can help your desire for sex.
And it's not about, like, suddenly becoming this ultra-sensual goddess overnight, right?
No, not at all. It's about small, practical, everyday changes. Like, being really honest, the book says brutal about pleasure. If something doesn't bring you joy, get rid of it.
Those scratchy sweaters?
Yeah,
Out. Uncomfortable shoes? Gone.
exactly. And actively seeking physical pleasure in daily stuff, lighting a nice candle when you read, buying yourself flowers.
Choosing clothes based on how they feel against your skin, not just how they look. That's a big one.
Training yourself to think, how can I make this moment more physically pleasurable.
The book also mentions smell, how powerful scents can be for mood.
Absolutely. Surrounding yourself with smells you love can really lift your spirits and create a more sensual vibe.
And this was interesting, taking inventory of the body parts you actually like, or even just feel neutral about.
Because we spend so much energy on the parts we dislike.
Right. So find the parts you're okay with, your hands, your hair, your shoulders, whatever, and then actively pamper them.
Like getting a manicure if you like your hands.
Yeah. Exactly. It's an act of nurturing, of experiencing sensuality through appreciating what you don't dislike, rather than trying to fix what you do.
And the bedroom environment itself. That's huge, too.
Oh, yeah. Soft lighting, calming colors, comfy bedding. They even give a thread count suggestion, 450 to 1,000.
Wow. Specific. And music, of course. Setting that mood.
It all comes back to consciously engaging the senses, focusing on pleasant smells, sights, sounds, textures. It shifts your attention away from negative thoughts and towards positive feelings.
Redirecting that mental energy.
All right, now let's talk about actually understanding arousal. The book mentions this disconnect for some women who are body conscious.
Right. The idea that your body might actually be showing all the physiological signs of being turned on, heart rate up, blood flow changing, muscles tensing.
All the mechanics are working.
But subjectively, consciously, you don't feel aroused. You don't recognize.
Because signals aren't getting through to headquarters.
Something like that. So how do you bridge that gap? The books suggest something called erotic cartography.
Erotic cartography? Sounds intriguing.
Yeah.
Mapping your body.
Essentially, yes. Using a mirror, your hands, maybe a vibrator, to really explore your body and learn how it responds to different kinds of touch and stimulation.
And this includes self-examination, like really looking at yourself.
The book specifically encourages women to examine their vulva with a mirror. Many women haven't ever really done that. The goal isn't instant positivity, just familiarity, understanding your own anatomy.
Okay. And beyond just looking.
Dedicated self-pleasuring sessions. Using lubricants, maybe some erotic videos or stories to create a context. The focus isn't just orgasm, but learning what feels good, what doesn't, where, how.
So it's like homework, but enjoyable homework.
You could say that, and it's not just for solo pleasure. This self-knowledge primes your body for partner sex. It boosts libido because you start understanding what actually turns you on.
And then you can communicate that. Which brings us to vibrators. The book calls them motorized masturbation.
Yeah, it encourages experimenting. Different types, speeds, pressures, finding what works for your unique body. It even gives tips on buying toys without feeling awkward.
So it's all about becoming more familiar and comfortable with your own body's responses.
Exactly, which naturally leads to communication with a partner, right?
Yeah.
Because now you actually know what to ask for.
Right. The book really stresses this, dispelling the myth that good lovers are just born that way.
They're made through communication and practice. Partners aren't mind readers, especially maybe male partners whose own sexual responses might be a bit more direct sometimes.
Yeah, we need to tell them what works. And the book addresses potential male sensitivities around using toys together.
Offering reassurance strategies.
Yeah.
Framing it as enhancing pleasure for both, not replacing anyone.
It also touches on the emotional impact when a woman constantly rejects her partner's advances.
That's important. For many men, sex is tied very closely to feeling loved and connected.
So repeated rejection can feel like rejection of them, leading to feelings of inadequacy, being unloved, even suspicion.
It creates this damaging cycle. And the book has an interesting angle on low libido, too, suggesting it might sometimes be a subconscious defense mechanism.
Protecting yourself from what?
From the shame you anticipate feeling during sex because of your body image issues. Like, if I don't want sex, I can't feel bad about my body during sex.
Wow, that's deep. So the advice is to bring that subconscious thought into conscious awareness.
Yes, and reframe it. Instead of, I want to, but I can't feel desire, try thinking, I want to have sex, but I won't let myself feel desire because I'm afraid of feeling shame. It gives you back a sense of agency.
Okay. And for women with low libido, there's this concept of flicker stage sex.
Right, instead of waiting for this huge wave of desire that might not come.
Act on the small sparks.
Exactly. Even if it's just a tiny flicker of interest or arousal, the book suggests initiating sex anyway. The act itself can often build desire.
So desire doesn't always have to come first. Sometimes action creates desire.
That's the idea. Experiment with it.
Okay, interesting. Let's switch gears slightly to exercise again. There was that specific workout mentioned.
Yes. The 20-70 workout. 20 minutes of sustained exercise at 70% of your maximum heart rate.
And the book claims this is really effective for boosting female sexual desire.
Surprisingly so, according to the research presented. It activates the sympathetic nervous system, which is key for female sexual response. It also boosts blood flow and influences hormones related to desire, testosterone, cortisol, estrogen, etc.
So it's not just good for you, it actually primes the body for arousal.
Pretty much. The book calls it maybe the single best thing you can do for your sex life, physically speaking. But there's a catch.
Which is?
Exercise sets the stage, but you still need an erotic stimulus afterwards to capitalize on it. The workout gets the engine warm, but you need something to actually start the drive, so to speak.
It does. And the book tells you how to calculate that target heart rate.
It does. And it mentions timing the effect is still there 15-30 minutes after exercise, but suggests aiming for intimacy sooner rather than later if possible.
And regular exercise has broader benefits too, right? Better blood flow overall, more sensitivity to touch, better hormone balance.
Definitely. But, and this is but the book warns that exercise can actually worsen body image if your main motivation is weight loss.
Wait, how? That sounds backwards.
If you're exercising purely out of dissatisfaction, constantly focused on hitting often unrealistic weight goals, it can just reinforce those negative feelings. You're still fixated on the problem.
Ah, okay. So the advice is to exercise for health, fitness, stress relief, well-being.
With weight loss being a potential side effect, not the sole focus. And he gives tips for building a sustainable habit.
Yeah.
Vary it, start slow, try daily for 30 days, link it to another activity, set a time, track progress.
Got it. And then there was that slightly weird but fascinating bit about male sweat.
Oh, the androstadion, yes.
Yeah.
Research suggesting that sniffing this compound, found in male sweat, might increase arousal in some women.
So maybe working out together has hidden benefits, or just being mindful of your partner's natural scent during intimacy.
Potentially. The book suggests it might be worth paying attention to. Within reason, of course. Don't wait until it's overpowering.
Haha, noted. Okay, let's dive into the mental game during sex. The book calls it spectatoring.
Mm-hmm. That feeling of watching yourself from the outside, judging your performance or appearance.
Like you're a critic in the audience of your own life.
Exactly. Instead of being in the experience, feeling the sensations, connecting with your partner, you're evaluating, how do I look? Am I doing this right?
Which totally kills the mood and the pleasure, so how do we stop doing that?
The book offers a cool tool, the 25% factor.
Right, based on that finding that women tend to overestimate their body size by about 25%.
So when that critical voice pipes up during sex, my thighs are wobbling, you can mentally challenge it.
Okay, brain, they're probably wobbling 25% less than you think.
Exactly. Or my stomach isn't flat.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably 25% flatter than my inner critic says it is. It's a way to introduce a margin of error, to dial down the intensity of the self-criticism.
Gives you a little breathing room to get back into the moment.
Mm-hmm. It's not about silencing the critic instantly, but about gaining perspective. Other strategies include talking during sex.
Talking, like...
Complimenting your partner, narrating what feels good, making sounds of pleasure, even talking dirty. It forces you out of your head and into verbalizing the experience.
Okay, and focusing on pure sensation, right?
Yes. What do the sheets feel like? The temperature of their skin, the pressure of their touch. Shifting focus to receiving sensations helps bypass the visual self-judgment.
And it was encouraging to read that enjoying sex without body hang-ups isn't limited to one type of woman. It's across all sizes, ages, relationships.
Absolutely. And confidence builds confidence. Feeling like you know what you're doing in bed, learning techniques, that naturally reduces appearance anxiety.
Makes sense. You feel more empowered. Another tip was focusing your attention on your partner's body.
Right. Appreciating them visually or through touch takes the focus off your own perceived flaws. And there's a self-compassion exercise too.
What's that involve?
Gently touching a body part you usually judge, visualizing warmth flowing into it, and consciously offering it forgiveness or acceptance. It's a small act of kindness towards yourself.
That sounds nice. Now, fantasy. The book really pushes the power of fantasy.
Big time. Even just having sexual thoughts can apparently raise testosterone levels in women, boosting libido. And critically, fantasies are a great distraction from anxiety.
They create different feelings: empowerment, excitement, escape.
Exactly. And they don't have to be some grand, elaborate production. If you struggle to know what your fantasy is, the book suggests asking, what turns me on? Instead, what scenarios, feelings, images get you going?
And act as if to enhance the feeling.
Yeah, embody the feeling you want the fantasy to create. It also tackles guilt about fantasizing about others, stressing it's normal, it's supplemental, not a replacement for your partner.
What if you can't think of your own fantasies?
The book suggests poaching them. Borrow ideas from movies, imagine yourself in the scene, explore women-centric erotica or porn, read collections of fantasies like Nancy Friday's books.
And you can bring these into the relationship.
Definitely. Share erotic books, underline passages, take turns reading aloud, tell each other your fantasies, or even try role-playing.
With costumes and props.
If you want, music, lighting, make it three-dimensional. Take turns directing your own fantasy. And blindfolds are great for heightening other senses and adding mystery.
Okay, so lots of ways to use imagination. Now, shifting to something a bit more complex. Power dynamics.
Right. The book points out that power dynamics often exist subtly in sex anyway. Who initiates? Who leads?
But it distinguishes that from structured power play, which is more intentional and consensual.
Exploring roles like dominant and submissive. The book highlights the psychological benefits feeling safe, controlled, escaping responsibility, or taking charge.
Like Anastasia Steele embracing her submissive side.
Exactly. The key, always, is consent, clear communication agreements, and safe words.
Safe words are crucial. Ways to stop immediately if things feel wrong.
Absolutely. The book gives advice on choosing them and on how to start exploring this slowly with a partner, using questionnaires to figure out preferences and stressing the need to debrief afterwards.
And it clarifies that being dominant isn't about being cruel. It's about giving the submissive partner the experience they've agreed to within trusted boundaries.
Right. Even incorporating sensation play, like spanking, needs to be done carefully, ensuring arousal first, building intensity slowly, getting constant feedback. And it mentions consensual non-consensuality.
Which sounds like a contradiction.
It does, but it refers to the agreed-upon pretense of non-consent within specific power play scenarios. The absolute right to stop using the safe word always remains. It's complex, requires immense trust.
Definitely requires open communication. Okay, switching to a difficult topic. Handling body-related insults.
Yeah, that's tough. The book suggests viewing insults like external negative messages, almost like annoying commercials. Try not to internalize them.
And crucially, don't retaliate with your own insults.
No, because that just escalates things and often gives the insulter the reaction they were craving.
So instead,
try to understand the need behind the insult. Often, the person insulting feels bad about themselves and is trying to feel better by putting someone else down. And practice refusing delivery.
Like the Zen master example, staying calm even when attacked.
Kind of. Not letting their negativity land on you. For more serious or repeated issues, there's a 9-step process for difficult conversations.
Focusing on I feel statements, the impact of the comment, finding common ground for the future.
Exactly. Centering yourself, choosing a good time, focusing on the issue, not blame, expressing feelings calmly, listening, paraphrasing, agreeing on future behavior, constructive, not combative.
Okay. Finally, let's flip the script. What can a partner do to help a one struggling with these issues?
The book acknowledges the partner's perspective. Maybe frustration or confusion when they find their partner attractive, but she doesn't see it. It highlights that male and female sexual math can differ. Men might be more visually triggered initially, while women often need that emotional connection and fulfillment from affection before desire really kicks in.
So partners need to understand that women value the emotional intimacy, not just the physical act.
Yes. And practically, partners should avoid actions that invite self-consciousness. No comparing her to media images, no demanding she strips immediately if she's hesitant.
Create an aura of complete sexual acceptance.
Right. The book suggests specific intimacy exercises to build that trust and connection. Things like naked breathing together, heart heater, observatory, leg embrace, fingertip trespasso, harmonious breathing. Simple ways to connect non-sexually first.
And encourage partners to be her idea of a good lover.
Pay attention to the environment, be gentle, kiss sensually, and maybe exercise together, bringing back that androstadion idea.
And let her choose his cologne.
Yeah, because of potential pheromone effects. It's about being attuned to her needs and creating a safe, accepting space.
So, to bring it all together, the traits of sexually satisfied women, according to the book.
A strong sense of overall well-being and sexual competence or confidence. It's not primarily about having a perfect body.
Remember, the media ideal is often unhealthy and unrealistic. Remember the 25% rule for self-perception.
Remember that men generally prefer normal weight women, and your partner's erection is usually a pretty sincere compliment.
Listen to your body, cultivate sensuality, explore what feels good through self-pleasuring.
Address subconscious shame, Cut back on libidinal poisons like smoking or too much alcohol. Make a conscious choice to want desire, create the right environment, know your erotic cues.
And manage your mind during sex. Crowd out negative thoughts, use the 25% rule, be active, focus on your partner, practice self-compassion, use fantasy, explore power play.
It's a lot, but the core message is about shifting focus away from just fixing appearance.
Right. It's clear body image struggles are common, deeply influenced by outside stuff, but lasting change seems to come from within, focusing on well-being, sensuality, self-knowledge, communication.
Absolutely. It's about reclaiming pleasure by nurturing yourself from the inside out, not just changing the outside in.
So a final thought for everyone listening. Maybe just consider one small, actionable step you could take today.
Could be anything. Light a candle while you read tonight. Think about why you exercise. Maybe gently touch a part of your body you usually criticize. With a little kindness, start a conversation.
Just one small thing. Because, as the book reminds us, pleasure and connection, they really are your birthright, regardless of your shape or size.
Well said. It's about claiming that right.